Aloha. Aloha, my beautiful ones. So grateful to just, be arriving here with you. I'm just getting my, how do you call that? Smudge incense ready. A very special kind of incense that I have here. My favorite mixture because it's my beautiful nieces that come together whenever they feel like um how do you say grinding stuff because they see my big grinder and they're like, I want to do that, and then I give them, tell me which ones we can do, and then they mix it together, and I love having that mix of them here to support us today. So firstly, a huge welcome to everybody here for the first time. I know that everybody that has already, participated in one of my journeys, you're all welcome to, come arrive a little bit later because in the beginning I always explain for the beginners what we're going to be doing today. Because not everybody knows about spirit guides, and that's why I like to, explain a little bit. So let me just get my incense running so that the tap can do its magic while I speak. So yeah, how did I get to do this? For everybody who's new, my name is May. I'm your neurospicy cyberwitch here, guiding you every Sunday at 21 o'clock. Yeah, Central European summertime, I think it is. Here guiding you to connect with your spirit guides. Because one of the things that I mainly hear from most of my neurospicy and or highly sensitive clients is that I feel so disconnected. I feel like I don't feel my spirit guides. And so the idea came up to actually start this every Sunday because I believe everybody can. Just a quick background on myself. As you can see here, I have a shamanic background, but I also specialize in Hawaiian philosophy. So those are like my two big, how do we call them? Anchor points. I'm going to say that within my reality, but I've also learned any forms of, spiritual energy work. I've learned to do shiatsu massage, if you know what that is, or lomi lomi, the Hawaiian version of that. And so, and I also have the first degree in Reiki. I didn't pursue more because of, my shamanic side, because I realized it wasn't teaching me more than what I already learned from my shamanic teacher. So that's why I'm there. And I remember, and I really still remember the day that I was initiated in doing guided shamanic journeys. And, if there's shamans out there, I know that some of them are going to say, no, May, shamanic journeys are never guided. They have to be, traveled by themselves. And yes, and I'm saying it that way because I actually received, comments like this back in the day when I started with it. Nowadays, thankfully, we're a little bit more open spiritually as well to understand that those things can be a little bit different. And the thing is that my shamanic teacher said, I can teach you everything and all the guidelines that I learned, but your spirits are always going to be over me. They're always, if they say something different than what I just told you, then it counts what they say, not what I said. So I listen to my guides, I listen to my spirit guides. And they taught me to guide people this way, the way we do it. You will have what a normal shamanic journey has is that space is created where you connect to your spirit guides. So that's what I do. I guide you to that space. Then you have time. That's when I make myself quiet and you have time to talk to your spirit guides. And then I come and call you back in and we journey back together. That's why these are journeys. Um, yeah. And what do I mean by spirit guides? I always say spirit guides because for me, that's like the upper top name. I'm going to say that, that you have for, your spiritual guidance, which could be the universe, which could be your higher self. But it also can be by spirit guides, it can be your ancestors, it can be, spirit guides, like really spirits that have walked the earth before, and are now, have now decided to be guides for others. And those can be healers, those can be teachers, those can be, just named guides themselves. I remember when I started this journey, usually when you learn shamanism, you dive into learning first, you meet your spirit animals. So it can be spirit animal, or power animal, depending how you want to name them. So that was the very first thing I did. And then the second thing you do is you meet your spirit guide. And I did. And I saw my spirit guide basically that first journey. And then I was pushed to meet my ancestors, because I have one wonderful, beautiful ancestor of mine that is also here right now with me, because she's always with me, and she has taught me a lot, and she pushed herself to the front because we were like, we need to talk, we need to work together, right? So that's why in my case, I sort of jumped over the spirit guides and went to my ancestors right away. But there's also spirit guides that you have. I've had um, three wonderful spirit, I'm going to call them spirit guides, that you could call spirit guides. And one of them, I know that we have walked the earth together. We have been, sometimes just me, sometimes that spirit, and incarnated, and then I would help, and the other way around, and sometimes both of us. So that's a very beautiful connection that I have there. But again, all of those things that I'm telling you right now are things that I found out over time. Your spirit guides don't tell you everything right away, but sometimes they do if you ask. So take your time, and you get the time in the journey to just get to know whoever is the spirit guide that wants to talk to you right now. I always say, don't focus on one spirit guide. Like with my ancestor, it's not that I focused too much on her. Actually, I was focusing on other spirit guides because I was learning with, other spiritual teachers, when she actually, went to a different shaman and said, dude, can you tell her please that she needs to talk to me? And ever since then, I don't ask for a specific spirit guide. I always ask who wants to support me today, who wants to help me, on my journey today. That's why we're not gonna, we're gonna see whoever wants to come in. So back to the spirit guides. It can be, like I just mentioned, basically like human spirits that come back, but there's also beautiful nature spirits, beautiful, magical creatures. We're talking about gnomes, we're talking about fairies, we're talking about I haven't heard, I have, worked with trolls, but not, as spirit guides, but you never know if someone has a troll as a spirit guide. Then, there's, the magical ones like unicorns. I work a lot with dragons. Like the dragons appeared in my life, I think it was around 2010, 2011-ish. And ever since then, they have been a big part of my life. And so I love working with dragons. I really enjoy working with them. And then, um, of course, the power animals. We have our own, our group animal from this, Spirit Journeys, which is a beautiful, wonderful elephant that always appears and sort of holds the space for us here. Yeah. So yeah, that's that kind. So you can basically say magical, extraterrestrial, whatever kind of, spirit guides that you have, they will appear. Now, for those of you who say, "May, but what if it's not a good spirit?" Don't worry about that, because the way I make these journeys is that we create a circle first that keeps the circle safe. So if something does appear that feels scary, ask your spirit guides in that moment, ask into the void or into the ether, ask them, please, this is scary. Please show me in a different way so that I can understand. And the more you practice this, you're probably going to have one or two spirit guides that will appear, at least in the beginning, come back and, every now and then. So if you're already acquainted with them, you can ask them to please protect you additionally through this journey. And of course, you can, when I'm opening the space for our circle, you can always ask for additional protection as well. But I know that, the one that I am creating, because I am creating it with your spirits as well, so that we can have a safe space to have our journey for the coming week. Another thing is because it's sort of like a guided meditation. I know that for the neurospicy brain, sometimes it's like, oh May, it's meditation is so hard for me, and I completely understand for me too. And I had people telling me that I had to meditate every day, three. I remember that was my spiritual beginning when I was 18. I dropped into Germany. And I met some people and they were like, yeah, we're learning universal energy healing. You want to learn that too? And I always felt like I had to do something in that direction. And they were like, okay, so if you want to do it and if you want to do it the right way, you have to meditate 3 times a day, at least 5 minutes each time. That was horrible. I mean, the great thing about it was that after I don't know how many times, I was like, okay, so I understand that I have like 3 thought trains. And while I'm thinking, because they said, like, you have to get your mind cleared. And I'm like, okay, so I get cleared one, like I'm counting 1, 2, 3, or backwards, from 100 to 0, 99, 98, 97, and so on. And while I'm counting, I'm realizing that at the same time, I'm going like, this feels so weird counting backwards. And at the same time, I'm also thinking about what am I going to have to eat tomorrow? Or did you remember what that guy said to me last night or last week or something like that? So I realized I had different thought trains. And that's the neurospicy brain. But the great thing about this kind of journeys that I do is that in the beginning, I hold your hand, I take you to a space, and then we set an anchor. We said the anchor is the question. So basically, what is your intention for today? What is the intention that you have for the journey today? Which can be a question, like what it was happening. What are we going to do tomorrow? You know what? Next week, I'm going to have a big conversation. Can you help me to have the right words or something like that? Or right now, I have this challenge. I don't know how to, deal with it. Can you help me with that? Or because I am going to draw 3 cards from my card deck later for us for the coming week. That could be something that you want to ask. And another thing is that today is very special because we had this beautiful new moon last night or yesterday, not last night, but yesterday. And we are probably definitely going to go into that energy for us to feel into the new moon energy, meaning that you can also use today to, I'm going to invite you to daydream yourself into where you want to go. What is it? What kind of life do you want to create? And we're going to ask the moon to help us create that, if that is what you want to do. All right. So your anchor is just going to be what would how does my ideal life look like today? All right. And also very neurospicy friendly. I don't mind if you do this, if you wobble, if you move yourself around this. My meditations don't request of you to be sitting still somewhere. I always say for the first time so that you can get acquainted with everything, I recommend doing it maybe somewhere in one room, but if you want to, you can stand up and walk around because I understand there's walking meditations as well, and they're very good as well. I'm sitting like you just probably saw. I'm sitting on a what's it called? Those balls where you can sit because of back. For me, it's more because of the movement. I need that. And so that's why I have that. So for the first time, I always recommend close your eyes and do that. But in the future, if you feel like, the thing is, it's always better to just practice being in the circle. So another thing that I'm also doing since last week is I'm uploading this to the podcast as well tomorrow. I think probably tomorrow. So you always have that to come back to. So you can do this, if you're going to go on a hike and you feel like right now you don't feel like talking to anybody, but you want to listen to this, and let yourself be guided, on this journey. Do that, right? So that's something that you want to do. And I'm not saying that I'm inviting you to actually be doing something else while you're doing the meditation, but I want you to have the permission to do it, right? This is no place where judgment, no of nothing. You are allowed to be yourself, and if it helps you to stay focused to the meditation, to do it while walking around somewhere, it's okay. If it helps you to be bouncing up and down, to be drinking, you're gonna probably see me later have a zip as well because me talking is good to drink something, especially when you're doing incense next to this. Um, so those are the things that's all open because for me the highest good for us is to put it in Hawaiian words is that everybody's pono, that everybody feels in their best harmony for themselves and that you feel comfortable. All right. So again, maybe for the first time it's good if this is your first time here, close your eyes and allow yourself to travel with me and in the future if you don't feel like it, you don't have to. All right. Another thing is that also that I've noticed because a lot of us, there's a 50-50% chance that you do like music, and there's a 50-50 chance that you don't like music. So I said, I'm not going to put on music. So if you like to have music, now's the time to, open up a different app. Maybe if you're watching on YouTube, open up a second tab if you can, or open up your music app and find something there. I am working on it to make my own meditation music, but I haven't gotten there yet. So, yeah, this would be the time to put on some music for yourself if you want to. Again, I think it's very important that you have that option. And yeah, that's it. I think I have, if there are no questions, I'm just going to check the chat just real quick. But if there are no questions, I think we can get started slowly into the whole thing. I'm going to zip a little bit so that my throat isn't too dry. And then I'm going to draw our cards for the coming week. Of course, you can get something ready if you want to. Um, something like to write afterwards if you want to write down something. That will be the last thing. All right, let's draw the cards and see what wants to show up for the week of May 18th after this beautiful Taurus new moon that we had last night. I always draw 3 cards unless Spirit tells me different. And I might at some point link these cards again. I made them myself. It's a product of my beautifully intense time. I love how they showed up. But yeah, so these cards were created in my time in Hawaii when this picture was created. And yeah, you'll learn more about it inside of my Cyber Coven, where I'm working on creating another safe space for all of us. But yeah, so the cards for the coming week, in case you want to have an anchor, and I think it's interesting because one card is repeating. And please, I shuffled these and they actually fell apart over there, so they're intensely shuffled, but still. And this is why, after I don't know how many years of having haven't done anything like tarot in general. I mean, it's been over, I think, 20 years. Yeah, more. 27, probably almost 30 years of me doing this. I'm still in awe when this happens because it's the same card as we had last week. And it's one of my favorites because it reminds us of to shut off our heads, to just stop thinking and start feeling with no judgment. Because the less we think too much and we need to come back to our feelings. So for the newbies out there, get ready to screenshot because this is what I do in case you want to screenshot it for next week. I'm putting it up here for you. Off with their heads in. You can screenshot it now in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, the second card. I like it. I like to. Moment by moment. Don't rush things and don't plan too much. Allow yourself to go moment by moment. Get ready to screenshot in 3, 2, 1. There you go. There you have it for next week. And the last card, live your life. Don't be passive. Take care of things. Start to create. Visualize and feel. Ah, this is the invitation for today to do it today, because of the new moon we just had yesterday. This is so, I love this. Okay, get ready to screenshot it in case you want to have it for this week in three, two, one, go. Perfect. All right, these are the cards. I always put them there so I have them during the week so I can see them and get a reminder. Gonna add a little bit more of incense. And then I'm going to start calling in our spirits and then we can go on our journey. If you have any questions or anything you want to share, you can share it in the chat or you can just send me a message. Send me an email. You can see all the details, website, CyberCoven, everything is below the video in case you feel like it. And yeah, I'm very excited for today. That's another thing. When I go into these journeys, I really don't know what we're doing because I I let myself be guided and the guidance just happens and I'm just, the participant of it. So there we are, my beautiful ones. Okay. Gonna take a moment to, do we want the rattle? Yes. Okay. The small one. Okay. I'm gonna call in. I think you're not gonna be, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be hearing it, but otherwise you won't hear my voice too good. So imagine yourself being rattled with a rattle. I'm gonna call in all our spirit guides to come and join us here on this journey to help us keep this circle safe, this Meet Your Spirit Guides journey safe. To all of our spirit guides coming today, whether it's ancestors, spirit animals, whether it's magical creatures, our wonderful elephant, thank you so much for being here. The elements of the four directions and the four directions, sorry, all of them. Water, fire, earth, wind, north, south, east, west, and all in between. Our beautiful spirit guides, ancestral energies, animals, magical creatures, power animals. Thank you so much for your guidance, for your magic that you create for us every day, for your beautiful guidance. Thank you so much for being part of our lives and for having this circle today and keeping it safe for all of us. All right. Now let's dive into the journey. Allow yourself to be in a comfortable spot, whether you're sitting or standing or lying down. Hmm. Let's see where we're getting started. But for now, just allow yourself to focus on your breathing, how you inhale, how you exhale. And in the next inhale, imagine yourself inhaling through your crown chakra, meaning your highest point on your head. Inhale as if you're inhaling universal energy, like you're receiving a shower from the sky. You inhale that, let it go through your whole body, and then you exhale it through your belly button, through your navel, through your center. And allow yourself to feel how your body becomes lighter because every time you inhale this universal energy, it goes through your body, through every cell, and it starts to grab anything that doesn't serve you anymore. And all your worries and all your anxiousness throughout the week, and you exhale it through your belly button. And so, with each exhale, your body becomes lighter. You inhale universal energy and you exhale all your thoughts and all your worries, anything that doesn't serve you anymore. You just exhale it. And in this lightness, your mind wanders to a beautiful place right by a beach. Right by an ocean beach, you smell the salty air and you feel your feet walking on warm sand. Maybe you hear the wind blowing through some leaves of some palm trees. And you hear the softness of the ocean on one side, the waves coming in very softly. The whole energy here is very calm and inviting. And you take a couple of steps through the dry sand until you get to the wetter sand part. And you start feeling the soft touch of the waves when they find their way to the beach. And you feel the water being warm on your skin and still very inviting. And you see the sky already in a very dusky, light blue sky. Sun is already gone, but it's not fully dark yet. And on one side of the horizon, you see a little, very thin new moon rising. This wonderful new moon is going to be our helper and guide today. And as you're looking at that beautiful new moon rising on one side, you see a magical little boat appear on the other side. There's no one on it. And you understand that magically this boat is here to come and get you. The boat gets closer until it gets to the beach, close enough so that you can easily step into it and sit down. And as you sit down into this boat, it starts hovering back into the ocean. As you can see, again, the little new moon on one side and then the ocean in front of you. A beautiful and serene moment of soft ocean carrying you. And you just take a moment to reflect on your day, how it was, if there are anything that you feel that you need to look into. And while you do that, you see a little island appear on one side. And you understand that the boat is taking you exactly to this island. And you see it come closer and closer, and it's a beautiful island with some lights somewhere in between. And right at the dock, you see several lights as if they're waiting for you. And as you get closer, as the boat gets closer with you, you start seeing the shadows of your spirit guides waiting there for you. Maybe it's one, maybe it's two, maybe it's more. Allow yourself to just see with your heart or feel with your heart who you recognize there, if they want to show themselves. And if not, you're just sure that they're there, because sometimes they just want to show themselves as orbs or lights waiting for you. And you step out of the boat onto the pier. If you can, you look at your spirit guides and you take this moment to say hello, to greet them, and to ask them, if you haven't met them before, what their names are, and maybe even what their role in your life is right now. And with your spirit guides as your companions, you start walking into the island. Maybe they even take you by your hand and you start going through a path, a well lit path. You just walk through there, enjoy the nature around you, the trees and maybe the forest. Maybe you'll even see some more animals until this beautiful path takes you to a little sweetwater lake in the middle of the island. And just as this island is an enchanted one, this lake is a magical one. Because while you can see over the trees, you can see the new moon right up there, looking at you standing there by this lake. Its mirror in the water shows the full moon. Because here is where the full moon and the new moon are connected, because the moon is always full and always new at the same time. And it is here to support you. And in the light of the two faces of this beautiful moon, you take the time. If you like to, you can go and sit down by the bench right by the lake or just have a walk with your spirit guides. This is the moment where you can talk to them, use your anchor, your questions. Whatever challenges you have, you can ask them and the new moon waiting for you. Or if you like, you can just focus and dream your life that you want to create in your life. And when it's time to go back, I will come back to call you. And whenever you feel like your thoughts are running around too much, just use your anchor questions to bring yourself back. Slowly, you bring your attention back to the beautiful place here, to this beautiful lake where you can see the new moon and the full moon in the lake. And your spirit guides. You bring your conversation to an end. And before we start walking back to the pier, we take a moment to connect with our beautiful new moon. And imagine yourself having one line that connects from your, highest point on your head, from your chakra, starts connecting you to the moon and back. And we ask the new moon, as we hold our hands open in front of us, to gift us with a blessing for the coming week, for the coming months, for the coming year. And whatever appears in your hand right now, whether it's feels right or not, allow yourself to accept this blessing from the moon. And if you'd like to, you can take this blessing from the moon and hold your hands while you're holding the present, the blessing. And you take it and you push it into your heart to bring it in, to accept it in your own energy, in your own space. And with this present, we start walking with our spirit guides back to the pier, to the dock, enjoying this beautiful magical island one more time with all its magical creatures. And once we're back at the pier, our spirit guides, one more time, we thank them for their support here today on this journey and always. And we say goodbye in spite of us knowing that they're always with us. We're so grateful for their support. And so we turn back to our boat, get back on the boat. And as soon as we're sitting comfortably inside the boat starts to hover again over the water. And we just let everything sink in that we just saw, that we just talked about, and ride the boat back through the water. I always like to peek inside and see what beautiful creatures are underwater. Maybe following along or just being companions underwater with us until we get back to the beach. Still seeing the beautiful new moon in the sky. And we feel the boat arriving at the beach with a very low as it reaches the sand. And we get off the boat, feeling the sand beneath our feet again, maybe even a little bit of the water, ocean water. And we step back into the dry sand and we see the shadows of the palm trees in front of us. And we turn around again to just look at the ocean and the vastness of the ocean and the beautiful night sky with the new moon. And again, we start breathing like we did before, inhaling through our crown chakra. And this time, exhaling it through our feet into the beautifully warm sand. And again, inhaling universal energy through our crown chakra, letting it go through our whole body, and then exhaling it through our feet into the floor, into the sand. And we feel our feet maybe even getting warm, and we feel ourselves getting grounded again in our body. And you feel every inhale and how it goes through our whole body, and you exhale it again into the ground. And you just feel yourself more and more arriving back in your body. You start feeling your body. Maybe you want to stretch yourself a little bit. Ooh. Or maybe even yawn like I do. That's energy going through your body. And then just allow yourself to move back into your body. And whenever you're ready, you take another very deep breath, inhaling through your crown chakra and exhaling through your feet. And then open up your eyes to come back into the here and the now. Thank you so much for having been part of this journey. Take a moment to let everything sink in. And whenever you're ready, you can go and write down what you just heard or what you just saw. And allow yourself some time to let that sink in. And I'm going to give you the time. In case you feel like talking to somebody, please do so. If you want to exchange with me, send me a message. But I'm going to let you, just perceive everything. Just leaving you with the invitation. If you liked it, and if you want to come back next Sunday again at 21 o'clock, or just listen to the recordings. Have a magical, beautiful week. And to say it in the words, live your life. So don't let life live you. Take it into your hands. I know that it sometimes doesn't feel like we can do much, but just by focusing ourselves in the right direction. Take that with yourself, you beautiful soul. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow, next week again. Until then, bye bye.